Honda is reportedly considering moving some of its production in Canada and the US, or Canada and Mexico, to the US in response to Trump's tariffs. That's according to a report from Japan's Nikkei News. Now, Honda's plant in Alliston, Ontario, has more than 4,200 employees. And just last year, the company said it was teaming up with the Ontario and federal government to invest in new facilities in the province. Let's get more on the possible impact of such a move if it were to happen. We're joined by Flavio Volpe, president of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association. Flavio, I know we don't know if this is going to happen and we have no real details, but it sounds like bad news for the Canadian auto sector.
Well, I think there's some context here that's important. This plant is their model launch plant for North America. So when Honda does new products, they launch them there, they refine the quality and the processes, and then they move south into other plants. This is a very highly regarded asset for Honda. The report today was not confirmed by Honda, but I think it's informed speculation on how Honda might mitigate the tariff threat and also USMCA renewal. What's important here is this is not a single model plant. So if they're responding to U.S. market demand with a potential for thinking about a CRV move, I remind your viewers and I remind the companies that I represent, suppliers to that plant, that Honda Civic is a top-selling car in Canada, and this is the global lead plant for Honda Civic. And it's one of the few plants in this country that exports product. In that, for that one, it's to Europe. And so I think what we're looking for here is what is the manufacturing footprint in terms of units is way more important than models. In the short time I've been on this perch, they've had half a dozen models go through there and they move out. But there is anxiety, and I think people are right to feel concerned and to ask questions. But in this case, I think Honda, and specifically Honda Canada Manufacturing in Alliston, is very well positioned to mitigate this crazy trade policy by whim that we're looking at.
Now, the Canadian press spoke to Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, and the Premier says the president of Honda Canada told him that this report is inaccurate. Ford says, Ford and his office say Honda told them the company does want to increase production in the States, but not at the expense of Canadian output. So the Premier, I don't know if it's wishful thinking, is certainly discounting this report.
Yeah, I don't think it's wishful thinking. Just to understand how this company works, it's got plants in all three countries, and they engage in a little bit more of build where you sell than some of the other assemblers. Okay. And so we saw them make a decision last week or last month to move the hybrid version of a Civic to Indiana from Mexico. That's probably because Americans would be buying that higher priced hybrid rather than Mexicans. But they didn't, in that case, do what Donald Trump said, which was, they closed the plant in Mexico and they moved it to Indiana. No, they have those assets. And they have supply chains that are local. We'll be working with Honda, but it's important. This is an industry that makes 10 to 20 year investments. They made a $15 billion commitment last year. I know that the federal government and the provincial government are committed to keeping these companies to their word. But in this case, that plant is as valuable to them and as productive and third-party rated, a highly third-party rated as any plant that they have in Japan, and certainly more valuable to them than anything they have in the U.S. At the moment. Yeah,
because last year, apparently, they announced a $15 billion commitment to Canada to create an electric vehicle supply chain. And there's going to be, according to Canadian press, up to $5 billion in public funds. But it would see them building an EV plant in Alliston.
Yeah, and look, and I want to remind everybody that before that, the general analyst community was saying Honda's not moving fast enough. Other Japanese manufacturers not moving fast enough to take advantage of this trend on EVs that the Americans were investing in. And what Honda said then, and is similar to what they're saying now, is, we do things thoughtfully and in, 10-year bricks and 20-year bricks. And Canada is, we're not that small of a market. We buy 2 million cars a year, and the most popular car for most of the last 4 decades in this country is a Honda product. And so Honda has at its disposal the Canadian demand and Canadian customer preference that other automakers don't. And so I think what we're really listening to here is contingency plan for matching demand and supply in different markets, rather than a plant that's on one shift or a shift and a half making product for that market only. That we've seen a few of those over the last few weeks that unfortunately the tariff wall could be fatal or near fatal.
Flavio, we've very little time left, but just give us the latest. So Canada and the States apparently modifying or planning to modify some of these auto tariffs to reflect more closely where cars are made, etc. So are we getting relief? Are you slightly relieved to see flexibility in both Canada and the States on this?
Well, we're responding to the president's whim yesterday when he was asked a question about Chinese exemption. So he said something that sounded like that. But I caution everybody, wait until you see an EO or an update to a Federal Register. We don't have any relief from the U.S. yet. What we're doing is we're moving towards a May 3rd deadline for automotive parts tariffs that I've warned for months now would grind the industry to a halt. So we're going to need relief on the current auto stuff, which is crazy. It's $125 million a day of tariffs that automakers are absorbing. But we really do need to avoid the cliff that is auto parts tariffs. Automakers can't hide that. They'd have to pay for those parts and that tariff the day they get it received. Unlike on cars, you might be able to spread it to other models, and you might be able to spread it into your dealer inventory, and there's a bit of a lag on response. On parts, there are none.
Flavio, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
Flavio Volpe, president of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association.